Hi folks, and welcome back to the Stormin' Cellar. Today we'll take a look at two awesome fighters, the F-15 Eagle and the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and see how they compare in capability. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video, and I'll give you my take on it as we go along.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Air Force Defense Channel. The F-15 is a twin-engine fighter jet capable of extremely high speeds and altitudes, while the F-16 is a less powerful but more maneuverable single-engine fighter aircraft. The F-15 is considered one of the most successful and formidable fighter aircraft ever built, with over 100 aerial dogfight victories and 0 dogfighting losses. It can operate in all weather conditions, carry a variety of air-to-air and air-to-surface weapons, and is armed with an M61 Vulcan cannon.
The F-15CD model was and still is one of the best fighter jets in the world. I remember seeing the first flight of 4 taxi onto our ramp at the base in 1975. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
The F-16 is a cheaper, lighter, slightly less powerful aircraft, but was designed with an emphasis on ease of maintenance and maneuverability. Originally intended as an air superiority day fighter, it has become a versatile all-weather, multi-role aircraft and has the same M61 Vulcan cannon as the F-15.
The F-16, also known as the Viper, is cheaper and smaller, but it also has a very small 1.2 radar cross-section for a 4th generation fighter, thus making it harder to track on radar. Its maneuverability is incredible. I remember flying the F-4D against the F-16, and of course the Viper had half the turn radius as the F-4, and it could easily turn inside you and get a kill shot. The M61 Vulcan cannon on both the F-15 and 16 has been the mainstay of fighter jets going back to the Vietnam era fighters. Oh, and here's an interesting tidbit. The F-16 was also known as the lawn dart due to its large number of mishaps early in its development years.
Development. The F-15 was developed in response to the Air Force's desire for a dominant air superiority fighter capable of ground attacks, partially to counter the perceived threat from the Soviet MiG Foxbat aircraft under development in the late 1960s. The high-speed, long-range requirement
designed to counter the MiG-25 Foxbat, this really turned out to be a real dud. Foxbat wasn't what it was made out to be.
For the jet-led McDonnell Douglas to the twin-engine design of the F-15, there are now nearly 10 versions of the F-15, with such variants as a lower radar signature, 2-seat trainers, and improved all-weather radar models. The F-15 expected to be in service with the U.S. Air Force until at least 2025.
I think we're going to say it a little longer than that. The U.S. Air Force is looking to extend the life of the F-15CD model and the F-15 Strike Eagle for several decades to come. They're now evaluating the F-15s for structural fatigue. If all goes well, they'll get major upgrades, including semi-stealth capabilities such as the Silent Eagle aircraft, one derivative that Boeing is pushing right now.
After the Vietnam War, the U.S. military decided it needed a highly maneuverable and inexpensive fighter jet to complement the more powerful and costly F-15. The F-16 was developed by General Dynamics with the goal of being able to maneuver with a minimum amount of energy loss, and to have a high thrust-to-weight ratio. Having a single engine kept the aircraft light and maneuverable. There are also about 10 variants of the F-16, which is also expected to be in service with the U.S. Air Force until at least 2025.
Okay, I know that you know those were not F-16s, but F-15s. But the information that the video gave was pertinent to the F-16, so I left it in there. Just thought I'd clarify that. The U.S. Air Force is looking at a service life extension program for the F-16 as well, which would keep the jets flying around 2050. This would include major structural modifications as well as limited stealth technology as well.
The F-15 is characterized by its twin-engine configuration, giving the aircraft so much thrust that it can accelerate while climbing straight up at a 90-degree angle, and can climb 30,000 feet in just 60 seconds. The twin-tail and swept-wing design allows for a high angle of attack and good stability at extremely high speeds.
This climbing capacity is called greater than 1-to-1 thrust-to-weight ratio, meaning it can actually accelerate going straight up.
The F-16 is a single-tail, single-engine aircraft, using the same Pratt & Whitney P100 jet engine as the F-15. It was the first production aircraft designed with relaxed, or negative, stability. Most aircraft are designed with positive stability, meaning they naturally want to return to straight and level flight with no input from the pilot. Having relaxed stability means thus makes maneuvering more efficient in terms of energy loss, as the airframe is not resisting maneuvers. The onboard computer helps to keep the F-16 stable. With a full load of fuel, the aircraft can sustain 9G maneuvers.
Naturally, the onboard computer is very helpful in pulling 9G maneuvers. However, the anti-G straining maneuver, the G-suit, and the 30-degree seat incline are all instrumental in 9G capability.
Strengths. Few fighter aircraft have a chance of competing with the F-15's high speed and service ceiling. The aircraft has a long range, aided by the option of external fuel pods, and has the reliability of 2 engines. Advanced avionics allow it to pursue foes from long distances and in bad weather.
Again, the U.S. Air Force is looking at adding aerodynamic conformal wing tanks, which would replace the 2 600-pound drop tanks and will only marginally affect the F-15's performance, while adding more hard points for missiles. My guess is the need for the F-15s to possibly supplement the 5th-generation fighters as standoff shooters will really not make maneuverability a huge factor in this case.
The F-16 is very maneuverable and loses little energy from maneuvering, which is partially achieved by a fly-by-wire control system. The aircraft is lightweight, relatively cheap, and has proven to be extremely versatile. Costing about $18 million per unit, it's much cheaper to build and operate than the F-15.
Definitely cheaper than the F-15, but with service life enhancements, costs will go up with new structural designs, the ASA radars, which gives it a look-down, shoot-down capability, and semi-stealth capabilities. Expect the cost to go up.
Disadvantages. The F-15's high performance comes at a high cost, $30 million per unit. During its development, critics worried that the aircraft was too large and heavy to be a successful dogfighter, although its track record has proven otherwise. The aircraft is capable of flying faster than its airframe's G rating, which necessitates a warning system for pilots to prevent them from putting too much stress on the aircraft.
The warning over putting too much stress on the aircraft is called Bitch and Betty, which will warn of the over-G. Now, I don't have as sexy a voice as she does, but essentially it's over-G, and I'm sure there's other things in the cockpit as well that will help them prevent over-G in the aircraft.
As the F-16 only has one engine, it is more vulnerable to engine failure catastrophe than the F-15, which can fly on one engine. The F-16 also has a lower maximum speed, service ceiling, and a slower rate of climb than the F-15.
Where the F-16 lacks rate of climb and one engine, it makes up for it by being a multi-role fighter, delivering both ordnance on the ground and performing air-to-air engagements. Okay, I think what we see is that there's a lot of life left in some of the aircraft in the F-15 and F-16 fleets. As they're upgraded and utilized in conjunction with a growing number of expensive stealth F-35s and the F-22 fleet, they will give the U.S. more bang for the buck by upgrading them. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to help it grow. I'd like to hear what you think by leaving your comments below. So until next time, make sure your takeoff and landings equal.